Hello again, everybody. So the intellectually defective theist quotient of the tubes has decided to dollop yet another heaping bucket of concentrated stupidity on the otherwise rational avenues of free thought. Just when I thought that I would be able to direct my efforts toward less pony issues, these amateur Christian clowns have forced my hand to slap the shit out of them, metaphorically speaking, of course. I wouldn't want any physical harm to come to these individuals. No, it's my hope that they live for the next 200 years, giving even the slowest minds among us a better than average chance to learn something of value. Now, it's seldom that we get to see so many half-thought platitudes from such a large demographic of the incontestably incorrect portion of the silly theists of the tubes. So I better make this one count and cuckold them in front of their peers so I can satisfy their secret longing to be humiliated by reason before the entire body of the thinking world. The video that these religious nincompoops have made is a response to an older video produced by The Thinking Atheist, in which a number of popular non-believers of YouTube give a narrative as to why flicking off the detritus of Bronze Age theistic propositions can be nothing but a good idea. Their arguments and questions are so fundamentally foolish that it's almost embarrassing to point the flaws in them out. Oh, I'm gonna do it anyway. So the first guy gets on and says in that sentimentally nauseating tone, "Did you ever think that there was anything more to life than this?" Well, my dim and dimming friend, that question, coincidentally, is one of the questions that has led you to being able to record your voice and post it on a video online. Then they quote a guy who wrote a bunch of kids' books. Then the second guy gets on and says that he's always wondered why people say that we are insignificant compared to the size of the cosmos, or that the size of a thing determines its value. Uh-oh, somebody didn't study their Eastern philosophy today, or ever. Life is insignificant when compared to the vastness of the universe and its awesomeness, my ignorant comrade. But that doesn't mean that it isn't special or rare or valuable. We as humans have developed the capability of sentience and conscience and empathy, a hypothetical metaphysical belief in a supernatural realm that is not by definition able to be experienced by humans, does not give meaning and value to human life. It cheapens it. God has made your life an experience of suffering and insignificance. Make sure you give him a high five for me when you see him. Douche. God, not you. Calling God a douche. Just to be, clear. Then the insufferable douche, the Cartesian theist, gets his shot at the already glimmering turd the previous two guys just crapped out. And it's starting to stink up the place, too. He starts in that smarmy D-bag tone that already smacks of something humorous in repeating one of the previous participants' assertion by saying that someone told your little baby who was tiny was insignificant or had no value. You'd probably think they were crazy. And yes, like the person before who already stated this argument with an equal amount of stunning wrongness, he apes the same argument that incorrectly asserts that atheists believe that size equals value. It's just magnificently stupid. Then we get to the next guy who takes absolutely fucking forever to say that God has put us on earth to experience the virtue associated with suffering. Hell of a guy. That God of yours. Hell of a guy. Suffer your way to enlightenment and slavery in heaven. Where the fuck do I sign up? Then the Cartesian douchebag gets into the mix, and really, all I hear when he speaks is blah, 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 I'm a douche, blah, 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 blah. Seriously, it isn't worth the time it takes to hear the words. I actually would rather be in the backyard scraping my dog's crap out of the grass than to listen to this guy's blithering commentary. It's just that insignificant. And always wrong. There isn't a shred of usable dialogue in anything he says. He makes the comment that theists don't obey God out of fear. They do it out of appreciation. And that's just an LOL sentence. I mean, this proves that he has very little knowledge of even his own scripture. Let's move along. The next guy gets on and says, why care about anything? Life is just going to end, right? Why should anything matter? Why care? How about because we are the owners of our experience? In order to get along in a civilized society, we must obey the laws of the central authority and try not to fuck anyone else's experience up. We decide what is meaningful outside the scope of the laws we're governed by and the folkways we observe. We like to discover our surroundings and grow into a world of knowledge that you have abandoned for a couple of parlor tricks and an imaginary voice in the sky. We find personal satisfaction and innovation and celebrate our fellows' successes as well. We don't care that this life is all there is. We know that this life is all there is. That's why we enjoy it, right up to the hilt, and why we put such a high value on it as well. You satisfied with that answer? And then the next idiot gets on and marginalizes human morality in a couple of statements that are patently false and states that following the Christian method gives one a personal relationship with their creator. Oh, you know, folks like these should be on the street selling pencils from a cup. Just saying. Then the next chick gets on and states that we are not meant to live on earth, that we're meant to live, you know, in heaven with God. Nice of him to maroon you for 72 years of your introduction to the Enlightenment to suffer and die. Again, another user who needs to give God a high five for me when they see it. You know, this type of garbage is all self-serving. And these fucking idiots call us selfish. Then they mention the guy who wrote a bunch of children's books again. Then the next guy gets on and says that a fish doesn't feel wet because he was made for the water. And that we do because we were not. Okay, I'll take the fish out of the water and see if it remembers what wet was like. Damn, that's impossible to know, isn't it? Because you can't get the opinion of the fish. Well, I guess it's back to the drawing board with you. Then they again quote a guy who wrote a bunch of kids' books. And then the end was some French chick reading from Descartes, which was actually the most entertaining part of the video. Loved it. Now, I hope you theists have learned your lesson. Being ill-prepared to defend against reasoned objection to your observations, as you are, the dance of poundage will continue until Christianity's star finally engulfs its remaining satellites and crushes itself into a cold black sphere. You can gain no knowledge of existence through continued use of hypotheses which are shown to be unworthy of theoretical status. Who said that? Me, motherfucker! Bye-bye now.